Okay, so I'd like to hand over now to Denise and Arthur. Over to you.
Yeah, Kirsten, thank you. We have been on quite a journey with our learning for sustainability. I really like that metaphor. I'm just hoping that everybody's like me and it's in an electric car. We certainly have come to this tool and the GTC self-evaluation at a really opportune time, because rather than being late or lost, I think we felt we were kind of waylaid, and I really think that was the COVID epidemic which has waylaid us on our journey. But in terms of where we are now, the self-evaluation toolkit it's came at that opportune moment for us to kind of take that slight pause to see where we're at and to be ready to move forward again with it. And it was interesting, somebody asked about that whole school self-evaluation. So quite early on, we used the self-evaluation from Education Scotland to look at us as in a school context. But going forward, we really have been looking at those standards, and we're lucky to have a wide range of practitioners within our school and at middle leadership, obviously myself, at headship, practitioners, probationers, right through. So it's been an ideal tool to look at it, where we're at in our sustainability journey. We took it on board very, very early on. We basically looked at our curriculum. When we came to the school, and Arthur kind of joined just after I was here in 2017, we really felt that the Learning for Sustainability offered us a lens to really consider our curriculum and the what and the why of our teaching. So we shaped our curriculum around learning for sustainability, the global goals, building in the national performance framework. I have to plug my computer in. Arthur, could you find me a charger? Apologies, we're not very sustainable here. I think it's through there. And we've shaped that. Now, as we've gone in our journey, a lot of it was driven by, and I think you'll find this in schools, really passionate individuals. And I think when they look at themselves in this, they can see they're on quite further down that road. But what this has allowed us to do, apologies for just faffing about here, what the toolkit has allowed us to do is really look at everybody across the learning for sustainability and look at everybody's practice, and try to bring others with you, because if sustainability is to be meaningful, it needs to be sustainable within each context. Right at the beginning of this year, we looked at curriculum rationale, having done lots and lots of work on it over the last few years, and then having that hiatus with COVID. And actually was our curriculum fit for purpose? And that, if you think about that, that fits in with the kind of 2.11 or your leadership, looking at the curriculum, look at the strategies, and you can break it down. And the tool's really valuable for breaking it down and seeing where those overlaps are, what looks like school, you as an individual, and where you link with building that capacity in others. And I think for us, what we've found is that, yes, our journey is valuable. It meets the needs of our learners. It meets the way we want to work as professionals, the way we reflect in our practice about those values that we have in our profession, and also the way we want to shape our curriculum and the opportunities for our young people. So the tool has come along at a perfect time for us in the hub to actually take that moment to reflect on our journey, because I think everybody's coming back out of curriculum, after the COVID, and thinking, where do we start back? We've been in a kind of recovery curriculum, so to speak, but to push forward, where do we go? And certainly using that Learning for Sustainability is a really valuable tool for doing that. Arthur, do you want to talk about yourself and in terms of it? Because we've been working it as part of our PRD as well, so that we had everybody. Arthur was leading the charge, but to bring everybody along, we're using it as one of our tools for our PRD, and I know that you've done a wee bit with that, Arthur, as well.
Absolutely. I mean, where we start this film, we might have looked, first of all, at the 17 global goals for sustainable development. We picked up and we found that introducing environmental activities, as we used to call it. Oh yes, we're working in the school garden, and people would just dismiss it as a little extra. But of course, when you're looking at the 17 global goals, you're starting with the garden, and then you're thinking seasonality, you're thinking long term, you're thinking developing planning skills, you're developing planting trees, you're thinking 100 years in the future. You're looking at not a separate subject and a separate add-on, but you're looking at all curricular areas. You're calculating the cost of your activities, you're calculating the resources you need and the costs of them. And it led us into the broader question of considering, you know, under Section 221, the strong commitment to rights. Children have a right to experience all the inclusion in the planning, the planning of the learning, making sure that they've got meaningful learning in it. And once we got out the garden mindset, it seemed like a bright new world, and there was a million things to do. We could watch the daily news, we could take in global issues, we can compare the society that being a mining village, former mining village, the society as it used to be, the society it is now. Where are we going in the future? Your journey metaphor fits in excellently. What are the reasonable and appropriate destinations for the children that we are working with? What do we want to open out to them? Okay, there's a million different hooks we hung it on before COVID. We were not thinking of it as an extra, but we stopped and we used the tool, and we thought, how far have we gone in the journey? So we had a swap shop for clothes and toys. We had washing facilities. We had cooking classes, art classes. These included parents, family members. We had the old people of the village in for their lunch. The conversations between the youngsters and the oldies. Not just going to the garden, and it's not extra. It's what we do. It's social studies. It's where are we going in the future? Why is it good to be in Scotland now being a learner as opposed to being in Scotland in Victorian times when I went to primary school, or trying to go to primary school if you're a girl in, well, I don't know, Afghanistan at the moment. And it's recognising everything the children can do, everything all the children can do. Listen to them all. If they can't write, we're using audio diaries. You know, everybody's in there. Including the families, including the Janny, the energy monitoring, including the kitchens, the no single-use plastic as of tomorrow. It's all one big story. It's all one big journey. I don't think it's an addition. I think it's been fun, and I'm as union a man as anybody else. There you go.
I think as well, in terms of, you know, if you're just looking at the standards, I probably shouldn't say this, and they seem quite distant, and you know, but actually when you use the context of learning for sustainability, it's a really useful tool to map yourself onto it. But then obviously you're looking at the wider, you know, the wider GTC standards. So when you're looking at your registration, or you're coming to your professional update, actually using the learning for sustainability as a tool, you know, to map yourself almost back onto the full standard, it's really valuable, because that provides the evidence and the context for your own development as a professional. And you know, that's really valuable for me where I am, and I'm sure for Arthur where he is in his career as well. Mr. Sustainability.
Mr. Sustainability. Oh, by the way, I forgot to mention, it's not just 322 and 323 and checklist and do your wheel. It's fun. It really is. It's rather absorbing, and the kids love it too.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Arthur. That was I think, just really speaking from the heart. We talk a lot about heads, hearts and hands when it comes to learning for sustainability, and I think you encompassed all of that in terms of the way that you brought in so many different themes under the learning for sustainability umbrella. You've brought in the ecological, the societal, the economic, and you're looking at it as a holistic picture. So thank you so much. I'm just going to stop the recording there from